walang inibulong sa kanya anumang daing at hiling.
Walang makakapigil sa pusong nanggigigil, hindi titigil.
Na maniwala, magtiwala, di ka dapat mabahala, manatili kang mababalagi.
Tumingala, hindi hihinto sa pagtakbo. Tuloy ang laban, maghihintay na may paninindigan. Sulong-sulong sa pagsalubong, sa tagumpay kay tagal na hinintay. Wala na sanang aayaw, ngayon pa ba manghihinayang? Sa pawis at luha na pinuhunan, sabay-sabay na isigaw. Tuloy ang laban.
Kalamidad ako'y inuunos, pundasyon ko'y nagmisto ng mga tulos, katawang lupa'y hilabot ng lubos. Barya mga buti pinupulbos, realidad ba to o di tunay? Dilan o piring magasin tunay, kapiling ng dilim at nagbubulay. Pikit lang ba ako o nasa hukay? Dali natatakot, kilang katakutan, kakilakilabot, kinikilabutan. Pagsubok katakot ako, siya ay pinalibutan. Sa Diyos ako natakot at hindi kinalibutan.
Walang makakapigil sa pusong nanggigigil, hindi titigil.
Na maniwala, magtiwala, di ka dapat mabahala, manatili kang mababalagi.
Tumingala, hindi hihinto sa pagtakbo. Tuloy ang laban, maghihintay na may paninindigan. Sulong-sulong sa pagsalubog, sa tagumpay kay tagal na hinintay. Wala na sanang aayaw, ngayon pa ba manghihinayang? Sa pawis at luha na pinuhunan, sabay-sabay na isigaw. Tuloy ang laban, kahit na ako'y nasasaktan. Kahit na aking nararanasan ang kalungkutan.
Ang bawat hakbang ay pinag-aralan, titinaging nahirapan. Di malilimutan ang dati sa pagkalibo, habang nahihilong lakas ng loob ang nabubuo. May design o malalapit ang masitulingalan, ang sa kalalitan na kapigilan, hindi kainitan. Masasandalan, mapagsusumbungan.
Harap malalampasan, tuloy ang laban. Walang makakapigil, walang makakapigil, walang makakapigil. Hindi hihinto sa pagtakbo. Tuloy ang laban, maghihintay na may paninindigan. Sulong-sulong sa pagsalubong, sa tagumpay kay tagal na hinintay. Wala na sanang aayaw, ngayon pa ba manghihinayang? Sa pawis at luha na pinuhunan, sabay-sabay na isigaw. Tuloy ang laban.
Maniwala, magtiwala, di ka dapat mabahala, manatili kang mababa.
Tigayero kami, tuloy ang laban. Tuloy ang laban.
Tuloy ang laban.
Tigayero kami, tuloy ang laban.
Tuloy ang laban.
We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Ontario unveils plans to expand addiction services throughout the province. Vaccine passport to avoid general confinement this fall. Canada eases border restrictions for fully vaccinated Canadians. Cell networks required to provide more affordable plans. COVID-19 pandemic's new relaxations. Overseas Canadians doubling up on COVID-19 vaccines despite health unknowns. UK supermarket Morrisons is set for mega takeover. Hello everyone, you're watching Eagle News Canada. My name is Marjorie Quintos, coming to you from Montreal, Quebec, bringing you stories from across the globe. Ontario unveils plans to expand addiction services throughout the province. Here's Eagle News correspondent Yolanda Aspiras with the details.
Ontario announces Wednesday its plan to invest $32.7 million to expand and enhance addiction services and support throughout the province. This funding is part of the province's 10-year roadmap to wellness plan, a $3.8 billion investment to create accessible, high-quality services for mental health and addiction support for Ontarians. The funding will support the following initiatives: $2.25 million to support elements of the Toronto-based opioid response proposal by the Toronto Academic Health Sciences Network, $6.9 million in provincial opioid response investments, over $18.8 million in bed-based investments for adults and youth who need intensive supports, which includes the addition of 30 new youth treatment beds at Pine River Institute, and $4.7 million for community-based services to support lifelong stabilization and recovery. In light of this, many health officials across the province have released their statements expressing their positive response and support towards this initiative. Kimberly Moran, CEO of Children's Mental Health Ontario, states, "Our research shows that 3/4 of Ontarians are experiencing increased mental health and addictions challenges as a result of COVID-19. Today's investment is greatly needed. Improved access to treatment is critical for children and youth with addiction challenges and is especially important for those with significant or complex needs who require access to intensive mental health programs and supports." Canadian Mental Health Association took to Twitter and said, 2020 was the worst year on record for opioid-related deaths. That's why we welcome the announcement today that Ontario is investing $32.7 million in new annualized funding for targeted addiction supports, including treatment for opioid addictions. With a total of 2,426 opioid-related deaths recorded in Ontario last year, Camille Quenville, CEO of Canadian Mental Health Association, encourages the government to take further action by implementing harm reduction measures to support individuals and families struggling with substance use issues. These measures include safer opioid supply initiatives and increasing the cap on the number of consumption and treatment services sites across the province. Associate Minister of Health Michael Tibolo extends his sincere appreciation to Ontario workers involved in the mental health and addictions sector. Take a listen.
Since taking office in my role as Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, I've heard many stories of Ontarians struggling with their addictions and mental health, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I want to extend my sincere appreciation to everyone working in the mental health and addiction sector, especially for all of you and the work that you've done throughout the pandemic to ensure clients are always provided with the supports they need.
In Toronto, Yolanda Aspiras, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
A vaccine passport will be implemented in Quebec by September in order to prevent another lockdown.
The Minister of Health and Social Services, Christian Dubé, today provided an update on the vaccination passport in Quebec, the use of which aims to avoid widespread containment. The target date for its implementation is September 1st. Its specific use will be determined according to the evolution of the epidemiological situation and vaccination coverage in Quebec. The vaccination passport will work from three principles. First, it will be used when the possibility of having access to 2 doses of vaccine have been offered to the entire Quebec population aged 12 and over. This is why the target date for the application of the vaccination passport is September 1st. Second, it will be used only if there is a deterioration or a change in the epidemiological situation in a given territory which would justify its use. And third, it will not be used for access to public or essential services. Quebecers aged 12 and over are therefore invited to take advantage of the summer to get their second dose in order to avoid a deterioration of the epidemiological situation in the fall and to be able to continue living in a new normal. The situation is very encouraging, but health officials are closely monitoring the emergence and spread of variants. In the event of a further increase in cases, with the deployment of a vaccination passport, those adequately protected will be able to continue with the routine activities of their daily lives, and the economic and public sectors will be able to remain open. It is now more than ever, vaccination is our passport to a return to normalcy, to more freedom, says Christian Dubé, Minister of Health and Social Services of Quebec. It should be remembered that a self-service portal allows citizens to upload their electronic proof of vaccination with QR code themselves on the web. It should be noted that many initiatives are in place to offer the population as much flexibility as possible and allow them to obtain a first or second dose easily, both by appointment and without an appointment. The second dose of the vaccine is needed and helps reduce the risk of having and transmitting COVID-19, increases the rate of vaccine protection, and provides optimal longer-term protection. Roslyn Gaviola, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Canada eases border restrictions for fully vaccinated Canadians. Eagle News correspondent Stacey Del Campo with a report.
Returning to Canada has become easier for fully vaccinated Canadians and permanent residents. They will no longer have to quarantine for 14 days in a government-approved hotel upon arrival by air. But everyone aged 5 and older still has to have a negative COVID-19 test before boarding a flight to Canada. When people arrive on Canadian soil, they will be given another COVID-19 test at the airport. They also have to present proof of vaccination and a quarantine plan should test positive after arrival. Travelers are considered fully vaccinated if they have received 2 doses of the Pfizer, Moderna, or AstraZeneca vaccines, or a single shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The land borders between Canada and the United States remain closed to non-essential travelers until at least July 21. But Canadians and permanent residents can cross land borders as long as they can show a negative COVID-19 test result. In Montreal, Stacey Del Campo will live in interesting times.
Cell networks in Canada are required to provide more affordable plans to its residents. Eagle News correspondent Micaela Salvo files this report.
The Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission wants Canadians to have better access to affordable wireless services for their cell phones and other mobile devices. Canada's largest cellular network providers, Bell, Rogers, TELUS, and Southtel, are expected to offer and promote low-cost and occasional use plans by July 14, 2021. And must promote their plans prominently on their websites and in their stores and kiosks. Their customer service representatives must also promote these plans, which include low-cost plans for $35 per month. Maximum this plan must include unlimited Canada-wide calling, unlimited text messaging including media files, and 3 gigs of data. postpaid occasional use plans for $15 per month maximum. This plan must include at least 100 anytime minutes for outgoing Canada-wide calls, unlimited incoming and outgoing text messages or SMS, 250 MB of data, and no charges for going over the data included with the plan. Prepaid occasional use plans for $100 per month maximum, wherein the rate plan and add-ons, if any, must remain in effect for at least 365 days. While these plans do not include data, consumers must be given at least 400 anytime local minutes. The cost for extra minutes above the limit cannot go over 15 cents per minute. For text messaging, at least 400 incoming or outgoing text messages. SMS and cost per text message above the limit cannot be more than 50 cents per text. Long distance fees cannot be over 50 cents per minute for call within Canada, incoming and outgoing. All plans must allow the customers to bring their own device. The CRTC is requiring Bell, Rogers, TELUS, and Soxtel to submit twice yearly reports on their offers and their promotion activities. This will allow CRTC to monitor whether they are meeting the CRTC's requirements. Reporting from Montreal, Quebec, Michaela Salvo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Health officials in Ottawa begin to relax COVID-19 restrictions due to favorable vaccine coverage. Here's Eagle News correspondent Kate Concepcion with the details.
The Ministry of Health and Social Services, MSSS, announces that due to the favorable epidemiological situation and the vaccination coverage, which continues to be more and more important, new relaxations will come into effect from Monday, July 12. They will apply throughout Quebec, all regions currently at the new green level. Thus, the distance to be respected between people of different residences will be lowered from 2 meters to 1 meter, both outside and inside. However, for singing activities and for high-intensity exercise in gyms, the 2-meter distance should be maintained. In addition, wearing a face cover remains compulsory in public places, as is currently the case. Other additional flexibilities at the green level affect, in particular, retail stores, places hosting an audience, and workplaces. There will no longer be capacity restriction in retail stores. Merchants must, however, manage traffic in order to maintain a distance of 1 meter at all times between people of different residences. Wearing a mask or face cover remains compulsory. In venues for hosting an audience, in indoor and outdoor places with fixed seats, a seat must remain free between people from different residences. The distance of 1 meter must be kept in common areas. In sports events where spectators remain seated in stands, bleachers, or fixed seats, the maximum number of spectators allowed per sports area is 50 indoors and 100 outdoors. In light of the relaxations to the health measure announced by the Public Health, the CNESST specifies that it will be distributed by the time these relaxations come into force, the necessary documentation so that workplaces can apply them in accordance with the health and safety of workers in Quebec. It should be noted that wearing a face cover remains compulsory in public places, in particular shops. To be considered adequately protected, a person must have received 2 doses of vaccine, the last dose of which was administered more than 7 days ago, or have had COVID-19 and received a dose of vaccine. Getting the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine is important to reduce the risk of having and transmitting the disease, increasing the rate of protection, and obtaining optimal longer-term protection. Kat Concepcion, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Overseas Canadians doubling up on COVID-19 vaccine despite health unknowns. Eagle News correspondent Vanessa Condi with the report.
As more and more Canadians are getting vaccinated, currently 76.6% of 12 years and over have had their first dose of the vaccine, and 31.1% have been fully vaccinated. 4 COVID-19 vaccines are currently approved for use in Canada: the Pfizer-BioNTech, Moderna, AstraZeneca Covishield, and Johnson & Johnson. Some expatriates, Canadians, living and working overseas are getting third and fourth doses. This is due to people who have had vaccines overseas that are not approved for use in Canada. They would have to face quarantining when going back home to Canada. There is currently no official guidance from any of the key international health bodies on the implications of taking additional COVID-19 vaccines. In Victoria, BC, Vanessa Condi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
The UK supermarket sector, which has benefited hugely from a shift to online shopping during the pandemic, is set for a further shake-up with Morrisons heading for a multi-billion-pound takeover.
Britain's fourth biggest supermarket said it had accepted a £6.3 billion, equivalent to $8.7 billion or 7.3 billion euros, takeover offer from a consortium of investment groups. The British supermarket is seen as a bargain compared to overseas peers, with its deep integrated supply chain and the fact that it owns much of its store estate, noted Susanna Streeter, Senior Investments and Markets Analyst at Hargreaves Lansdowne. Reflecting the fresh interest in the group and a potential bidding war, Morrisons' share price jumped 11% in London morning deals. Apollo on Monday said it was in the preliminary stages of evaluating a possible offer for Morrisons on behalf of investment funds. It comes after a consortium comprising SoftBank-owned Fortress, Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, and Koch Real Estate Investments had their takeover bid accepted. Morrisons is Britain's fourth biggest supermarket chain in terms of sales, according to data group Kantar. Trailing leader Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Asda, it nevertheless has almost 500 stores and more than 110,000 employees in the UK. At the end of last year, U.S. retail giant Walmart agreed to sell Asda to the billionaire Issa Brothers and a private equity group for £6.8 billion. While UK supermarkets have enjoyed strong sales during the pandemic, they have faced hefty added costs with having to employ thousands of extra staff to meet rising demand for online food shopping.
Coming up, we have updates from the NBA. Eagle News Canada continues after this.
Sumali po kami ng PNA, mas lalong nagbago yung buhay po namin.
Nagbuhayan kami ng pag-asa na makasaya ulit ng sama-sama.
Gagawin namin yung best namin para makuha.
Lahat itatry namin para talaga makamit yung mga pangarap namin.
Ito na yung pangarap namin. Lalaban namin to.
This program is supported by Magnolia Incorporated. Magnolia ready-to-cook fried chicken. Worry-free na on your next family meal. Yan ang alagang Magnolia. Pure Foods Tender Juicy Hot Dog. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy Hot Dog. Sanig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. BMAG Premium and ProTac Plus Gold. SMC Infrastructure and Skyway Stage 3 Citrus Central Expressway Corporation. San Miguel Foundation Incorporated. Max Pro Northern Cement. Lamang ka dito. Petron Corporation. SMC Global Power. San Miguel Aero City Incorporated. Bank of Commerce. An affiliate of San Miguel Corporation. We think customers. We are IT Philippines Incorporated. Dynabank, your success is our business.
Kubert, your ultimate MAPS air conditioning solutions.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups Micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights. Sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News Canada. My name is Marjorie Quintos. In sports, International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach arrives in Tokyo ahead of the Summer Olympic Games plus Game 2 NBA Finals, highlights between the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. Here's Eagle News correspondent Tenny Sumagi with this week's sport recap.
International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach arrived in Tokyo ahead of the Summer Olympic Games, which will take place in 2 weeks. President Bach announced that there will be no spectators at the Games and assures that athletes will have an Olympic experience that they will remember in their lifetime.
We all regret this decision for not having spectators. For the spectators, but even more so for the athletes, who will not be able to enjoy live the Olympic atmosphere. But for the athletes, I think the feeling will be very different, because they will know that billions of people from around the globe are with them in their heart, that they are supporting them, that they are feeling with them. So the athletes should also appreciate this feeling and should feel encouraged by this different new form of support in unprecedented times.
Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo had a monstrous game, a career playoff high of 42 points. But the Bucks are now down 0-2 against the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals. With the series heading back to Milwaukee, the Greek Freak and Bucks head coach Mike Budenholzer weighs in on how to stop Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns.
You know, we've been here before. We know what the deal is. Just gotta be aggressive, keep enjoying, playing together, keep enjoying playing basketball. And hopefully our good habits, throughout the year can, take over, and now we can put ourselves in a position to win the game. But we know what the deal is.
Their ability to kind of, make the pass kind of on time, on target. Paul and Booker attract a lot of attention, and, particularly in the first half, I think they made us pay a little bit for that extra attention on them. Bridges hit some shots, Crowder hit some shots. They make 23s tonight. So I think, and then they made some tough ones too. But I think, their ability to attract a little bit of attention and then make the pass and guys make shots, hopefully that's an area where we can improve.
And that's a wrap for this week's sports news. In New York, Tenny Sumagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
A promotional video released July 1st shows billionaire and founder of Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson, alongside 5 other crew members as they prepare to set off into space on July 11th. Weather and technical checks permitting, the planned trip into the cosmos will come ahead of his rival billionaire, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, journeying to his aerospace company, Blue Origin, on July 20.
British billionaire Richard Branson one-upped his rival Jeff Bezos on Thursday, announcing that he too will travel to space as many as 9 days ahead of the Amazon founder. Branson's company Virgin Galactic said in a statement that he would be a mission specialist aboard the spaceship 2 Unity, which will go to space as early as July 11, pending weather and technical checks. If the schedule holds, Branson would make it to the cosmos before Bezos, who said he would travel to space aboard the New Shepard launch vehicle belonging to his company Blue Origin on July 20. The 2 billionaires have founded rival companies to take tourists on short flights to suborbital space. Branson will evaluate the private astronaut experience and will undergo the same training, preparation, and flight as Virgin Galactic's future astronauts. Virgin Galactic's spacecraft is not a classic rocket, but rather a carrier plane that reaches a high altitude and releases a small spacecraft, the VSS Unity, that fires its engines and reaches suborbital space when glides back to Earth. After this flight, 2 more tests are expected before the start of regular commercial flights in 2022, according to Virgin Galactic.
That's today's Eagle News Canada. Join us again next week as we bring stories that matter to you. Visit our website on eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter on twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. This is Marjorie Quintos. We live in interesting times.
Dahil sa patuloy ang tao sa paggamit ng iba't ibang hair products, hindi malayong marami ang makakita ng business opportunities sa mga produktong ito.
Trial and error talaga siya until you find the perfect formula.
Pag ginamit ko siya, magkakakulay na ako. Ganun.
Pag ginamit mo siya, i-apply mo siya na parang shampoo application.
Pumokus ako dito sa paggawa ng pomade. And then, doon ko nakita na talagang it's enough na to para sa family ko.
Sa salon yan, yung mga pangkulay na ginagamit, may mga ammonia yun. Hinahalo yun.
Wala sa iyo yun.
Itong organic na brand natin, wala.
Ako po,